Hey Adventurers, so today is going to be my book haul for, I don't know, kind of the end of the year, or I think I'll probably call it an end of the year book haul. This is for basically the books that I've gotten since the last time I did a book haul. And so it has Christmas included, stuff like that. Just some other things that have finally come in after waiting for them for a while, stuff like that. So let's take a look at what I've got here. Hopefully this won't be too terribly long of a video, but we will see what happens. So these first several will be from my used bookstore, local used bookstore. Twice a year has like a big 50% off store-wide sale, and so there's oftentimes that you can find a lot of really good books for really cheap. And so a lot of times I just go in there to see if they have the books that I am looking for specifically, and I don't worry about anything else. But sometimes I'll go in there with that in mind and then come away having found other ones that I'm like, I don't want to leave without these because I don't know that I'll ever find them again, type thing. Or they're ones that I realize, hey, I need these because I want to read them at some point, type thing. And so, yeah, let's see what I've got here. So the first one, or first three, I guess, I don't know what order they're in, but we've got three from David Gemmell. And so King Beyond the Gate is one of them, just a paperback copy. I already have Legend, and so eventually I'll go through and read some of those books. But King Beyond the Gate is one of them that I've got. I like that artwork too. It's very nice artwork. Dress the Legend. So another one from Gemmell. And Winter Warriors. So I believe these are all from different series within, or different sub-series within his. These all seem to be Draenei. I don't know. I assume Dress is Draenei as well. I guess Dress is sequel to Legend, so that's good. I don't know. I don't know this series very well. The author very well. I just know that I need to read him because I suspect that I will love his works, and so many of the booktubers that I know and love and watch and appreciate and everything, they love Gemmell's works. So I need to get to him eventually. I also found Heir to the Empire, which is the first book in the original, I guess now Legends Thrawn series. Heir to the Empire trilogy, Thrawn trilogy, whatever you want to call it. And so I've been wanting to read this forever, basically since I first heard about it and learned about it. But then especially now that Thrawn has been brought back into canon and there's these new Thrawn books that have been released, which I've read the first one and I need to continue. I have the second one as well. But now I want to continue with this Thrawn. I have one of the other ones. I have Survivor's Quest, which is, I don't believe it's part of the Thrawn trilogy, but it is a Timothy Zahn book. Yeah, it's a Timothy Zahn book, but it takes place after the Thrawn stuff happens, I believe. Then I found, I haven't tried this author yet, but some of my booktube friends love this author, and I decided that I should probably pick it up since I saw them there. So I've got Fritz Leiber, I don't know, Swords Against Death and Swords Against Wizardry. So I don't know what the order of these books are that I'm supposed to read. If I understand it correctly, Swords Against Death was the first one that he wrote or something like that. And so it can be read as the first book in the series, but there is then a sequel or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, a prequel. I'm not exactly sure how it all works together though. But I know that it is, I don't know, I know that there's something along that line with how these books work. So I don't know. I will try these out eventually, especially the first Swords Against Death. I'll definitely try out. The other thing that really drew me to Swords Against Death, that right there. This is a signed edition from Fritz Leiber. So it has the author's signature in it. So that's super cool, even though I haven't read the book. It may turn out something where like I don't like them, and at that point I don't care. But it was $2. It was actually $1 because it was half off. And so, like, obviously I'm going to buy that. That's well worth it to me. Then I received my copy from Charles McGarry of his new book, The Nomad's Crucible. So this is one that he sent me as a thank you for doing beta reading for this book and giving him some feedback on it during his writing of it. And so I really want to reread this because I enjoyed it a lot, and I want to read it again and see what the polished finished up version looks like. And I do want to review it, but it's going to have to wait a little bit because I can't get to it at the moment, but I do really want to reread this one. So I'm super excited to have it. And Talendor's Guest was one of my favorite books from the year that I read it, and I just really appreciated that. And then this one too was really fun, and I like seeing McGarry as a writer and see what the types of story that he tries to tell and how that all works out for him. So I do want to get back and reread this, but it's going to be a little bit before I do that. Another one sent to me by the author is A Song of Bones by Isaac Anderson, and this is pitched to me as like a dark Redwall, and obviously I'm sold on that. So yeah, the author reached out and asked if he could send me his book in exchange for an honest review, and so absolutely I will. Once I've read this, the author knows well enough that I cannot guarantee that I will get to the books anytime soon. He understands that, and so that's an important thing. If you're going to ask to send me your book, I cannot guarantee that I'll get to it anytime soon. I've got books on my shelf that are like 3 years old that I need to read. So don't. At the moment, I'm not really accepting review books to review requests, whatever. I can't think of the words that I'm trying to say. But that being said, I did accept this one, and I'm, of course, it's Redwall inspired. I want to read it. So yeah, animals, dark fantasy, maybe a little bit grim dark. It may be more dark than I like, but I'm willing to give it a try for sure. So anyways, Song of Bones by Isaac Anderson. Then these two, I was participating in a Secret Santa gift thingy in gift exchange. That's the word, not thingy. Gift exchange on Dominish Books Discord server. And so the books that the person who got me, who I do know who it is, the person who drew my name sent me these two books. So the first one is A Forest of Vanity and Valor by A.P. Beswick. This is a series that, from what I understand, it takes and retells many of the classic stories that we know, like King Arthur, Robin Hood, stuff like that, and puts them in a medieval fantasy world that is going to eventually build into a book that, into like the series is a series of standalones until they all come together in kind of like an Avengers type film or type book where all the characters come together into one big volume. So it's I don't know what I'm going to think of this one, but I'm excited to give it a try because, well, I like the covers. I love this black and white with a splash of color theme. Usually, sometimes it's not done well, but these ones I really like the covers of as well, and I really like the idea of them. And Robin Hood, I believe this is the Robin Hood one, is the first one. But I don't know, it just sounded so interesting to me, so I'm super excited to have it. It's short too. It's looks about 250, maybe 300 pages, 233 pages. So it's nice and short. I really want to get to it and see what I think of this, but like most of them, it's going to have to wait a little while. The other one that I was sent is Dreamer Awake by Liam Cutie Hall. So this is Liam's Lyceum's novella, and I have already read and reviewed this one, and I interviewed the author. I had a fun author interview with Liam on this one. So really good novella, a little bit dark, a little bit sword and sorcery and cyberpunk inspired and stuff like that. Lots of really cool things, and it was really fun just to see what Liam can do as a writer. And so yeah, definitely check this one out as well. Lots of fun, nice and short. What's like 170 pages? 130 pages. Wow, I'm off today. 130 pages, 134 pages for this one. And so super short, quick read, really interesting. I like the way that Liam writes, that Cutie Hall writes, is he uses a lot of words that are not in common usage anymore, but that have very particular meanings. And I really appreciate that. I really like seeing that. There's very rarely do I read a book and come across a word where I say, I don't know what that word means. There were times, multiple times in this very short book, that I did that, where I said, I don't know what that means outside of the context. Within the context, I can understand what's being said, but I would have to, if I just saw the word, I would have no idea what it means. And that's really cool for me. That's just one little teeny aside about this book, but yes, anyways, go read this one as well. So that is my first stack. Let's pull my next stack here real quick. All right, so from this next stack, most of these, the final, where did they go? Oh, the final three from this stack are Christmas presents, and the final three are Christmas presents. I'll mention that when I get there. But these first six are ones that I did purchase. And so yeah, first one is Wind and Truth. I didn't love Wind and Truth. I thought it was decent. There was some really good things about it, and there was some really not good things about it. Overall, my comment for this book is Sanderson knows better. And you'll hear that again once I do my review of it, but that review is not pressing for me. Anyways, I did get this one. I love the cover. I do love Michael Whelan's cover art for this series. That being said, this book is not as good as it should have been. And that's unfortunate. Still, I'm glad to have the book. It's definitely going up on my shelf with my other Stormlight books. And yeah, I'm glad that I own the book. That's about all that I can say about that. You probably understand, you probably know about Wind and Truth already because it's Sanderson. The next 5 are all part of the same world. They're all from the same author, and that is Andrew D. Meredith. So this is Fleeting Word, which is a Claytian legacy story. So this is a novella set in the Claytian in the world of Calatai. This is set immediately at the end of the Protectorate Wars, which we have not seen that series written yet, although we have lots of hints and references to it in Calaitian Saga. So this is a short story or a novella set in the world of Calatai that tells a specific part of the story, fills in some gaps, fills in some holes that are necessary, but is very much just its own standalone story. I've already read and reviewed this. I believe I've reviewed it, but this was fun. I enjoyed this one as well, and Meredith, fantastic author. I love his works. The next 4 then are Deathless Beast, Bone Shroud, Gloves of Eons, and Dread Knight. So these are the Claytian. This is Claytian Saga Arc 1, the first 4 books in the Claytian Saga. I have now read all 4 of these. I do not believe I have released my review of Dread Knight yet. I don't think. In fact, I know I haven't because I read it in December, and I am back in August with my reviews or something like that. So, anyways, September with my reviews maybe. Anyways, that's not important. The important thing is that I have these beautiful hardcover editions. I love the cover art on these. The colors just pop so much in real life. I think cameras don't capture it accurately, but in real life, especially, I mean, this one's black, dark gray, black. That's pretty simple. It always looks good. These other 3, this red for Deathless Beast looks so good, as well as this beautiful vibrant blue. Again, just absolutely gorgeous. And then this pinkish purple, just absolutely beautiful books. And so there's artwork inside, I believe, as you go through these books and stuff like that. Just amazing, high quality books. So beautiful. I'm so glad that I have these. And yeah, I cannot wait to go through and reread these all again, but it's going to have to wait a little while. I may do a reread before book 5 comes out, but not likely. I don't know. Maybe I will. I might. We'll see. I did just reread Gloves of Eons in preparation for Dread Knight because I couldn't remember what happens at the end of Gloves of Eons that then ties directly into Dread Knight. So I did do that. So I don't know if I will reread them all immediately in preparation for book 5 or not, but I might. Either way, I'm super stoked to have all these books now. They're absolutely gorgeous. The next 3 then are all Christmas presents. The first one is Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston. This is a story about Ahsoka Tano after she's left the Jedi Order and kind of how she gets her lightsabers, her new white lightsabers. From what I understand, this has kind of been written into the TV shows, into Tales of the Jedi specifically, and so like it's no longer exactly canon with the TV shows, but still I want to read it because Ahsoka is one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time, and from everything that I've heard, this is a really good book as well, and so I want to read it and see what I actually think of it. Maybe I won't like it, I don't know, but I do want to read it and find out. Then I have this beautiful illustrated edition of The Hobbit. This is the same as I have for Lord of the Rings and Silmarillion, and so I'm super excited to have this new edition. Obviously, I love editions of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and everything like that, but this has got tons of artwork, fantasy artwork within it. I haven't even looked through this book hardly at all, and I'm so excited to because I know that it's going to be amazing. For my current reread, I am not reading from this edition. I am reading from one of my paperback editions that I have not yet read from, and so I am going through and making sure that I have read all of the editions of the books that I have, type thing. And so this one, maybe next year, this is the edition that I will read from. Likely, I suspect, is what I will read from next year, or 2025. And then the last one that I have from this stack is, again, Christmas present, and this is A Spring Harvest by Jeffrey Bache Smith. And this is one of Tolkien's friends. This is somebody that knew Tolkien as a young man, that was a companion of Tolkien, and they were friends. They spent a lot of time together. They weren't part of the Inklings. He died during World War I, and after World War I, Tolkien helped get a collection of his poetry published, and it was instrumental in that. And then he wrote the note at the beginning. It's kind of like a preface note at the beginning of this collection. And so I'm super excited to have this. I haven't read through it yet, but the first story is Arthurian, and so I definitely have to. But I really want to read this, because anybody who is inspirational to Tolkien in some way is worth me spending my time reading. So yeah, and definitely want to read that one as well. So that is stack 2. The final stack is only a couple books, 2 books I believe, and then I can close this out. So technically it's 3 books, but we will talk about that when we get here. You'll see why in just a second here. So this first one is another one that I purchased for myself. This is Murder on the North Pole Express by Patricia Meredith. So this is the second book in the Sam Shovel mysteries. Sam Shovel, the first one is Death of Christmas Tree Salesman, which came out last year and which I really enjoyed. It's a nice short Christmas story about a snowman that comes to life for 12 days around Christmas, and he ends up solving mysteries. The reason why I say I have 3 and not just 2 is because I actually have 2 copies of this book, 2 editions, not editions, 2 copies of this book. And the reason why is because the first one that was sent to me has a printing error where page 92 is blank. And so this other edition, this other copy of the book actually has the correctly printed book, and page 92 is no longer blank. And so now I have one that is kind of like a special fancy it's not a special edition, I can't think of what it's called, but it's something that I'm going to save, because I'm going to say that someday it'll be worth money. Not that I'd sell it, but anyways, I'm perfectly happy to keep both of them, and I haven't read this yet. I don't know when I'm going to get to, but I need to, and I want to. It may not be before next Christmas time, just because I haven't gotten to it yet, but it might. I'm not sure. I might try and read it. I don't need it to be Christmas time for me to read a Christmas-themed book. That doesn't bother me at all. But I do want to read this. Super excited to have this one. Yes. Last thing. This is the last Christmas present that I received, and I received it late after Christmas, just due to shipping and stuff like that. And that is The Art of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I love art books. I love looking through here and seeing all the different concept art for this book, where the movie came from and all that kind of stuff, where the ideas started and how they progressed to the movie that we ended up getting. I actually really enjoy the Force Awakens movie. I don't think it's perfect. I think the third act significantly fails in general, just as a whole. I don't think the third act of the Force Awakens is very good, but acts 1 and 2 I like a lot. Nevertheless, I think that the original story that had been written for episode 7 would have been significantly better than what was written, or what came with The Force Awakens. And I wish that they would have used more, or completely used, George Lucas's original script for episode 7 rather than what we did get, because I don't think what we got was nearly as good as it could have or should have been. That being said, I do actually like episode 7 quite a bit. I enjoyed that movie significantly more than 8 or 9. But anyways, still super excited to have this, because I love looking at artwork. Doug Chiang, the primary artist for Star Wars films at this time, is fantastic. I have listened to several of Doug Chiang's discussions or panels or whatever that he has given, especially at things like Star Wars Celebration. And he's just a fascinating artist, and I really love his artwork, but also just I love everything Star Wars. And so very much enjoying, I can't say that I love everything Star Wars at this point, but I'm very excited to have this book. It's not one that you just go sit and read the entire book cover to cover. You could, but I probably won't. It'll be one of those like coffee table books type thing, and just excited to have it and look through this art and learn a little bit more about the process. So anyways, thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. This has been my end of the year book haul. Please let me know anything that you want to about any of these books that I have received or that I talked about here. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.